What's going on, my Jets family? I want to thank you guys for tuning in to the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys being here. Got some of you guys, Mr. Michael. Appreciate you right out of the gate. Excited about the episode. Appreciate all you guys there. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for being here with me on your Monday evening as part again on the Take Flight Spit and Fire podcast. So today's episode, as you guys saw, I titled it The Elephant in the Room. And the reason I did is I thought about it, and it's funny. It made me laugh too. I mean, the irony and the pun of that is definitely not lost on me. But it's more the term, if anything, because the term elephant in the room usually refers, and I will throw it up, the term elephant in the room usually refers to something that is on everybody's mind but isn't really being talked about. Like, people are afraid to talk about it, or they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to bring it up. And it's understandable. And this is exactly one of those situations that, yes, the issue unfortunately is weight. And I'm a bigger guy myself. So, I get it. I sympathize. We're going to talk about what it all means, though, for somebody at his level. And we're going to talk about it as the episode goes on. We're going to go through all the facts, look at it objectively, and then analyze it at the end. So again, it's the elephant in the room. Again, the pun was there, but it really is the elephant in the room because it's a big issue, right? This is a big problem. This is a guy that we spent the 11th overall pick on in the draft, right? We drafted this kid 11th overall back 2 years ago. He was supposed to be the guy. And as you guys know, I was a really, really big fan of this kid. So let's look for a second at what Mekhi Becton was in his rookie season, which a lot of us have done. As he's been out, we dreaded, we're upset, and we're worried about what could happen. But as we've seen him back, we've started to remember, and I brought it up a little bit myself as well. So appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys being here again. Any comments, any questions, let me know as we go. But he had a solid rookie season. And as we mentioned, he was drafted 11th overall because, and I felt it, we've mentioned a lot of people tend to, backtrack their takes or, say, oh, that's not what I said. I said it back then. I'm not going to deny it. And I felt it very strongly that Mekhi Becton was the best offensive lineman in this draft. And if you guys remember, that's one of the things I really loved about Joe Douglas in that draft, that he reiterated the same thing, that he reiterated that, man, Mekhi Becton was my guy. Like, this is the guy I wanted, and that's why we got him at 11. Not that he was available. He's the guy we wanted. I loved that. It was a big relatable thing. As you remember, as he's always talked about, you build football through the trenches. So we come back to Mekhi Becton, and we talk about, again, why he was the 11th overall pick. He was lights out at Louisville. The kid was great. He's always been big. He's always been a massive individual. But as myself and many have pointed out, he had no injuries. I think he missed like a few, 1 or 2 games here or there for like nitpicky things, but not more than a few. He really didn't have injury history in college. His size, he was always a big man, but he could move. Remember, that's what everyone always said, and that's what everyone said during the draft process. Mekhi Becton's huge, right? He's massive, but look at how he can move. His mobility, his ability to move around and be nimble and block defensive linemen is really all that matters. That and staying healthy, obviously. So size matters if you can't move. Well, as we pointed out, and as I pointed out, many did during the draft process, Mekhi Becton was as fast, if not faster, than most offensive linemen. This dude was a freaking dynamo. He ran his 40, and everyone was like they just couldn't believe it. Like, the man was lightning. So his mobility, his issue moving, even as a big man, has never been a question. And again, coming into the draft, he didn't have injury history. So yeah, he was huge, but I loved his potential because, again, his mobility, he was as quick as guys 100 pounds lighter than him, honestly. So his rookie season, he shines, right? Has a 76 pass grade, pretty much a 74 run grade, which is awesome. For a rookie, that's awesome. We saw at left tackle, he looked like the guy. Like, we're like, okay, this is the guy to keep our quarterback safe for years, right? We all felt that way. We looked at his play and we were like, yeah, this is the guy. He was a potential Pro Bowler. He almost got the nod and was potentially going to get votes. And he was said to be by NFL Network and many. He was said to be a breakout player in 2021 and one of the best left tackles in the NFL. So, man, I was excited. Everyone was excited. We were all like, this is our guy. Like, Joe Douglas killed it with the Mekhi Becton pick. Now, as we remember, as I mentioned, then he got hurt. He was hurt his rookie year. We've talked about it till we're blue in the face. We've talked about the, excuse me, Mekhi Becton's injuries, and going back to the first one, which we'll talk about the second one, but going back to the first, remember his shoulder, they kept letting him out, right? They kept putting him back out. Remember, I'd done the research, many others as well. Excuse me, but I'd written an article at the time because I talked to a doctor that he was potentially going to tear that shoulder. So he kept being thrown out. Remember, Gase kept putting him out, letting him re-aggravate that shoulder, re-aggravate the shoulder, never heal it, always hurt through the whole season. Starts the thing of, oh my God, the kid's got injury. Right? Second year, obviously, you know what happens. The knee, it was devastating. He went down. We saw his face. It was devastating. But as I've been saying, and Sal's been saying, and Douglas has been saying too, we were all blue in the face for months, was that the surgery was fine. That the issue was not if the surgery was fine. It was that as a huge man, remember, we kept saying, we're not going to get crazy into it, but we talked about it for hours, if you remember. We kept talking about it, how it takes time to put weight on that knee. If you're a massive individual, yeah, the athleticism's always been there, so there's been a problem at that size. But when you're massive, it takes time to heal when it's a lower body injury because you're putting your weight on that element. Remember, the issue was never that the knee was going to heal. It was again, the surgery was 100% successful. It took time to put weight on it. So it took a lot longer than expected, but he's been ready, right? They said at the end of last season, he's ready to go, but we don't want him to get hurt. He's ready now. He's ready to go. Well, as we all know, we heard, his wife was pregnant, so he missed the OTA. He missed OTAs, and we talked about that. That was a big issue, with a lot of, some people. But as we talked about, we analyzed it as well. We talked about it here, right? We said that, it's understandable. He wants to be there for his wife. As we say, he's not married, but he's called her his wife. Salah's called her his wife. So whatever he wants to refer to as, so his significant other, whoever he's close with, they're having a baby. It was a big deal to him. He wanted to be there. Many people didn't understood. I understood. I said, as long as he's really ready, he's fine. Because remember, all off season, we saw him working out with the Big Duke, right? With the Big Duke, the dude's lifting ropes and freaking picking up 400 pounds and running around and benching 400 laying on the ground. Like, he's showing I'm ready. He's even, remember, changed his nickname to Big Boss, right? Changes his nickname to Big Boss. Wears a t-shirt. I put it on the cover of this episode to highlight it. That everyone's like, oh, he's calling himself a bust. No, he's mocking. He's mocking. He's saying it's a chip on his shoulder. Bring it on. It's just going to pile onto me. So we were excited to have him back, right? We were excited to have Mekhi back. And I've kept saying it. Remember, I've been super excited myself. We talked about how much I love this kid in the draft, how much potential I thought he could have, how he killed it his rookie year. I've been saying it's Mekhi Becton redemption season, baby. It's time for that man to, again, the chip on his shoulders, right? Calling himself Big Boss. He knows who he is. He knows what he can do. So we talk about, the potential of this kid and how much I love him, what he's done, how good he's looked. But we always have to look at the facts, right? We have to objectively look at the facts because, again, he was a high draft pick. So we talked about all the great stuff we saw from him. And we talked about how he was hurt and the surgery was successful. It took him a while to get back. Well, remember, the beat writers had always been writing that weight was an issue for him, right? That he was, eating himself to death, right? That was what some people had said, right? that he was, eating himself to death, that he was too big to be able to play. His weight had gotten very big. He'd gotten larger than his weight had been playing at in the past. And it had been a problem, bigger than he was in college, a lot of people were saying. So the facts, if we're going to, again, look objectively at the facts, we talked about the positive. The facts have been what we've been hearing, and what we've all been hearing is that Mekhi Becton has shown up very overweight according to reports, right? That the reports from a lot of people have been that he's much larger than we expected. And some people put on Twitter, they made a good point. Some showed how he looked in his rookie season and how he looks now. And yeah, he's bigger. He's a bigger dude. He looks big when he showed up to minicamp. He looks like he could be overweight. Again, Connor Hughes said something a little while back that I read and I liked, and it made a lot of sense at the time. He pointed out how the Jets like to, I don't have the exact thing in front of me, but he pointed out basically how the Jets, like to talk about certain things if they line up. You know what I mean? Like, if there's something they want, this is what they wanted, right? They want, this is going to happen. This is this. Like Carl Lawson ready to go. They're saying Mekhi Becton's back and ready to go. But when they kept asking him about weight and if he'd weighed what they wanted, they didn't say anything, right? They didn't say anything. And he kept saying that if it really was where he came in where they wanted, they would showcase it. That they'd be like, hey, look, he's where we said, like to psych the fans even more. I didn't want to buy into it at the time, but I look at it again. There's been more reports from other areas. You guys have seen them. There's been other reports from other sources, apparently, saying that he's in the 390 something range potentially. At some even said over 400. Who knows? It could be a lie, but in the 390 range potentially, that is too big. So we come with all these facts, right? We come to all these facts, and then we talked about the positive, we talked about the negative. To swing it back a little bit, we talked about what Mekhi Becton said. So again, he showed up. We've seen him in mini camps. He looks pretty big, right? We were like, oh, he's a little bit, but again, nimble, right? Again, going back to all the things we've talked about, that's what makes it conflicting. And again, I'd love to talk it out with you guys. That's what makes it conflicting, right? We know he's nimble. We know he's athletic. We know athleticism has never been his problem. Speed, his athleticism never been his problem. It's been staying healthy. So yeah, he's put more weight on. He still looks athletic. It's a lot of weight. What does that mean? So we look at the pressers Mekhi Becton has had. So he showed up to these pressers, and what he's been saying has been awesome. Mekhi Becton in his pressers has been saying that he's looked good. Sorry, that he's good. He's ready to go. He's been saying that the doubters are just adding fuel to the fire, and he's saying that he's going to make those who've written him off eat their words. So obviously the weight thing is touching him, and I get it personally, and that's kind of what we get to the last part of what it all means. So I get that personally. I'll be honest. Weight's a tough issue. Sometimes you want to eat what you want, right? You want to, but at the same time, he's an NFL player. He was the 11th overall pick in the draft, right? I'm not. That's the difference here. He's being paid many, many millions of dollars to play at the level he's playing at. I'm not. So that's where we get to, again, what does this all mean? Because we've put in a lot, right? We spent 11 minutes now going through it all, right? The story that is Mekhi Becton. Now it's time to digest it, right? What does it all mean? What it means is pretty much summed into cautiously optimistic is probably the best way to look at this. And I think you guys might agree with me looking at the way I did. We loved the kid in the draft. We were excited that we got him. He looked phenomenal as a rookie. He freaking killed it. He was expected to be the next great left tackle. Everyone's like, 2021, this kid is it. He's going to be the next great left tackle. I forgot exactly who, but one of the NFL Network writers had him as like the top 2 potential best left tackle in the NFL or something like that. Like that's what his potential was. Excuse me. Obviously, he got the injury. Obviously, he was hurt. He's come back. They've talked about weight. Weight's always been the issue. And again, while I sympathize, we have to, again, look at he's an NFL player, right? There is a size that's going to eventually be too much because, again, he's a massive man. He can obviously hold the weight, and he's very athletic. But injuries is going to be a bigger problem the more you weigh. And he played really, really well and dominated even in the 360, 370 range. If he can, which probably is the plan. And maybe that's, again, we're talking, what does it all mean? Maybe that's what Salah's talked to Mekhi about. Been like, okay, you had the baby. And you know what? Anyone who's been around any pregnant woman before knows food, right? You get the munchies, you get different cravings. He probably's eating a lot too, She's like, I want this, 2:00 in the morning. I want the go to the Italian restaurant that's open, get me this, whatever it is. He might be eating too. So he might have been eating a lot, got a little bigger, maybe the plan. Maybe Robert Saleh sat him down and said, okay, you had the baby, you had your time, you did what you needed to do. Now's the time to kick it in. You got to lose the weight. Like you got to tone up a little bit because he looked really ripped in the videos we were watching over the summer, which we have to remember. He didn't look, again, that's what people have been doing, and it's crazy. It's like, I kind of, in a way, again, he's making crazy money. But at the same time, it's almost like a Biggest Loser thing, right? Where we're watching Mekhi, they're like, well, this is what he looked like in college. And this is what his body looked like as a rookie. And then this is what he looks like last year and then now. And then it's like he's on display. So I feel bad, but at the same time, you're at this NFL level. You were drafted 11th overall. You weren't drafted in the 3rd round and the 4th round. You were drafted to be the guy. You were taken over a lot of talented guys that people have named because you were expected to be the guy. So if weight becomes an issue, Jet fans, rightfully so, will feel ripped off, right? If weight becomes an issue where, again, just playing the worst case, right? Worst case, just biting my tongue. If weight really is an issue for him, then it feels like we got ripped off, right? Because we have this guy with unbelievable potential and he just couldn't get it right, right? He couldn't do what needed to be done because we've seen when he's on the field, he's freaking amazing, right? Yeah, he was 360 something, 370, but he moved like guys that were 300 pounds. We were like, remember, I was like, I don't give a shit. He has no injury history. Kid's athletic as hell. Watch him plant people into the earth. I even said he's going to be the pancake king of the NFL. And people nicknamed him that. People nicknamed him that after his rookie year, but I said it back in college. This dude's going to be a pancake king in the NFL. He's just going to be murdering dudes, just putting him into the earth. Like, that's what he's going to do. So we were excited. I loved his potential, and I still do. I still do. And we go back again, the conflictingness of it. He's shown up. He looks pretty big. Again, I feel bad. He's going through the biggest loser thing, but he looks pretty big. And they're saying he weighs like 390 something. Multiple sources have been reporting that. It's tough. It doesn't, you want to make sure that's going to come down because that's a problem. So if that's the case, he's got to kick it in, right? He's got a month and change before mini camp really begins, but more importantly, a few months before this preseason begins, right? That's enough time to shed a little bit of fat and to show commitment. I mean, I hate to, again, you guys know, I hate fat shaming. I hate it. Like, I hate it. But at the level you're playing at, you need to show people that you can be durable, right? You need to show people that you can play where you need to be because we see it all the time. Like, if a receiver shows up with a giant belly, or I think it was Le'Veon Bell that year when they show up with a belly and people point it out. They're like, look, he's overweight. I don't even want to say his name because saying the name Muhammad Wilkerson makes me want to snap my neck. Makes me want to snap my neck, but he did it, remember? They're like, oh, he's getting heavy. Maybe it's going to be a problem. So it happens at this level. That's just the name of the game. It's the beast. It's the make of the business. You want to be in the business. You were the 11th overall pick. This is what's going to come at you. He's been saying again, it's fuel for the fire. He can't wait, right? It's fuel for the fire. He loves it. It's going to make him better. Well, let's see it, right? If he comes on the field and he just fucking kills it, like just fucking kills it, it's over, right? The questions are out the door. Everyone's like, Mekhi Becton is back. Mekhi Becton, our savior, has arrived on the right side. And I do want to throw that out, too. I do want to throw that out. I think he will be the right tackle because George Fant killed it at left tackle last year, mainly as a pass blocker. Killed it as a pass blocker. And what's more important than the blindside left tackle being able to keep Zach Wilson safe? So George Fant is left tackle in my mind, but Mekhi Becton will freaking kill it, man. And if he could, and if he does, that's the big thing. But as we've seen from these reports, we have to take it all in. Again, we got to take it in objectively, and this isn't good. It's not like, again, if he would have showed up at like 350, I think Hughes is right. I think it would have been talked about. If he was 350, they would have been like, Mekhi Becton is 350. He did what he said he was going to do. I think they might have made a bigger deal. I think he might be right about that. I hate to admit it, but I think he might be. So there is a little legitimacy to that. He's got some time. He's got to make it work. So again, what does it all mean? I think as you see, my analysis again comes back to cautious optimism. We know what he can be when he's healthy. Right? We know what he can be when he's optimal, when he's ready to play, when he's healthy. We know what he can be. What is he going to be? That's the $1 million question, and that's what's going to come down to. What is he going to be? Will have to remain to be seen. Again, I think the potential is there, obviously, but it wouldn't stand. If he is 390, that's a fact. Yeah, Mekhi, it's time to go. I've been saying myself, I plan on hitting the elliptical this summer a bit. You got to do what you got to do, right? You got to do what you got to do. So if that's the case, we got to see commitment, right? Him showing commitment would be getting himself to an optimal weight because that, again, sucks to fat shame. I'm with it, but it shows your commitment, right? It shows your commitment. Saying, I'm committed. I've done this. You can see with your eyes what I've done. We've seen him show up out of weight. If he loses that in a few months, that would go a long way. That would go a very, very long way. So again, what does it all mean? Comes back to cautious optimism. Appreciate Michael Points. I appreciate the comment about the haircut, brother. I got it right earlier before the. It's a little shorter than I wanted up top, but you know what? It's the summer. You got to enjoy it. And that actually brings me to my special announcement that I do want to bring up. I planned that to you guys. I'm gonna tease you a little bit, if you may. I'm gonna tease you just a little bit. I'm gonna come back to it. I'm gonna go with your guys' comments a little bit, but I do have something I want to announce to you guys. I had a really great idea. So Jeff points out, glad you chose this subject. Again, you guys know I'm a huge Mekhi fan. I always have been. I pointed it out on Twitter. I don't hide it. I don't hide it. Again, a lot of people hide behind past takes. I don't. If I was wrong, you eat crow. That's what you do. You're a human being. If you don't make mistakes, you're not human. You're a freaking robot. Everyone makes mistakes. It's about learning and growing from them, right? That's what everything is about in life. So I feel Mekhi Becton can be great, but it all comes down to him. Like everything we've talked about, 1000% comes down to him and his commitment. Zach Wilson has shown unbelievable commitment to his craft. Guys like Elijah Moore have shown unbelievable commitment. Michael Carter has. It'll be fun to see. We all know how great Bryce Hall is going to be. But man, don't sleep on Michael Carter. He's shown some commitment. He's been turning heads so far. But and Brandon Echols has showed up heavier. He's been bigger. People are talking about him. There's commitment to your craft. It's just how it works. You have to do it. So that's what it has to say. Jeff points, why talk facts when we can speculate? That's what it is. It's 100% like, I say this. No, I say it. He's going to do this. No, he's going to do that. No, he'll never do that. It'll make you crazy, man. It'll make you crazy. And that's why I think I come at it from a good perspective because I'm not going to lie. I was a big fan of the kid and I like the kid, but I'm also a Jet fan and nothing trumps my Jet fandom like many of you guys. I care about my team. If Becton truly can't get it right, he really did kind of fuck us. And you know what? I'm annoyed for that. And I understand other Jet fans' annoyance as well. If he can't get it right, if it's on him 100%, like the talent was there, the ability was there, he just couldn't get it right after making that much money as the 11th round pick. It's understandable for people to be pissed. If that happens, it's 100% understandable for people to be like, yeah, fuck that guy. Harry points out, hey, Harrison, what's up, man? Appreciate you. Jeff points out, Wade thinks more about longevity. If he's healthier at 350, can still have the same impact. It's really just about, again, if he can dominate at 390, so be it. But there's got to be too much, right? Like, I mean, I'm just a bigger guy myself. I feel like there's got to be too much at one point, right? Like, yeah, he's athletic as fuck. Like, he's ridiculously athletic. Like, he makes guys that are like tinier than him look like nothing running next to him. Like, but there's got to be too much at some point, right? So, like, if he really is close to 400, it's time to show a little commitment. It's time to dig in a little deeper, show a little commitment, right? Zach Wilson bulked up by changing his diet, right? Think about that. Zach talked about that. Zach said he completely changed his diet. I'm not an expert on it, but if I remember correct, he said it had more about intaking more protein, not just more calories. And he talked about how it bulked him up and how it did really well. And he had a private chef. They all have chefs there. So if Mekhi really wants, he can turn to the chefs and be like, this is, how I want it. You got to do this for me. So we have to see what happens. We do have to see what happens, but it's on him. It's 100% on him. And like Jeff says, yeah, we're all rooting for him to be an all-pro. I'll hold my breath when I see him big. It's the sentiment, man. It's the sentiment. Like, I know what he can be. We all know what he can be. We watched him. We watched him in his rookie season. We all know what he can be. Can he do it, right? If he can do it, it's freaking awesome, right? If he can do it, that's great. But it's scary when people talk about him being massively heavier than he was supposed to be. And the Jets coaches, when they ask about it, move on. Which, again, I don't always agree with Connor. Connor's a great guy. Connor's an amazing guy. Don't always agree with his takes. But that one I agreed with after reading it a little bit. It made a lot of sense. That they would, if he came in at 350, 360, they would have pointed that out. They would have 100% pointed that out. So, Jets gang, appreciate you, my brother. JETS, appreciate you here, my man. And that's what Jets Gang says. It's a big point. I don't know how we expect him to be away when he wasn't playing football for a year. Again, same thing with pregnancy, right? I mean, I'm not making fun of any pregnant women, right? Please don't think that. I'm not making fun at all. It's normal. I have a lot of pregnant. I work currently when I'm teaching with a pregnant woman. I've been amazing thing, obviously, when people have babies, of course, but it should make you more hungry. You have another human being inside you. You get cravings, right? All of a sudden, I've experienced it with people I've been around, right? Family members, I know it. At this point, you want this food or that food. So it could have led to him eating more, right? It's possible his wife being pregnant sometimes leads to the husband eating a bit more. So all of that, plus not playing football, could have contributed. We saw him working out over the summer. That wasn't a lot, right? It wasn't like they It wasn't him. It wasn't like it was a doppelganger. It wasn't a Becton doppelganger. It was him. So we saw him working out. We saw him beasting out. And that's what, again, Jeff points out. He looked lighter in the videos. I agree. I agree. And that's what I didn't want to. And that's why, again, I come back to the elephant in the room. I saw it and I almost didn't want to say it because I felt like, oh, man, this sucks. Like I felt like I saw it and I was like, like, he looks a little bigger. Maybe he'll be fine. Maybe it won't be anything. We all kind of felt that way. You don't want to talk about it, and that's what makes it the elephant in the room. You don't want to talk about it because that makes it real. That's what makes it real. That's what makes the situation real. And I just stop using the word elephant. It's dumb. We'll throw it out. No more. That's funny, bro. We're done. We're done. Mekhi's watching this. He's like, I'm going to kill that guy. He's going to see me at a game and turn me into a tuna can. Oh, man. Hardy points, I appreciate all you guys. A few minutes behind, time to catch up. Good to appreciate you, my man. Appreciate all you guys being here. Appreciate all you tuning in. Appreciate all of you guys being here. So, like you said, what does it all mean? I think it's cautious optimism. That's what it really. I think it's cautious optimism of what we know he can be when he's right, and we hope he's right. We hope he can get there. He can show it to us, right? Like we said, if he really is heavier, showing that would be a big deal, right? Getting into the right shape, allowing, they're going to talk about it. If it happens, I agree with Connor on that point. They're going to get to the podium and say, Mekhi weighed in at this. And everyone's going to be like, oh, it's going to be huge. It's going to be a big deal. Let's get it. Let's get to that point. So I appreciate all you guys tuning in. If you have any other questions, let me know. That's what we do here, right? You got a question, you let me know. You got a comment. You want to bring something up, we bring it up on the show. We talk about it. If you don't want me to throw it up, you can always say you don't want me to throw it up. We'll just talk about it anyway. Up to you. But I appreciate all you guys being here. Appreciate, always bring the comments, always bring the questions. But that's the situation on Mekhi. Again, I'm a huge fan. It's tough to watch. It's tough to see. I love the kid. I hope it works out, man. I love him. I love him. And if anything, again, the way Fant was last year, George Fant killed it as a pass blocking left tackle. Again, we talked about it in previous episodes. One of the best pass blocking left tackles in the NFL last year. If Mekhi comes back at the level he was at with the combination of freaking Lakin and AVT, dude, I know McGovern's a weaker link, but shit, at that point, those four guys are amazing. I freaking love it, man. I love it. So Jeff points out, he should burn through the fat quickly if he really wants to. We can see it, right? He's got a month-ish and change till training camp, couple of months to the preseason, right? That could be by preseason. If he's at weight, that would be a big deal. That would show major dedication to the craft and people taking back what they said, all that bullshit. You want to make people eat your words. You got to lose that weight. Right, if that's real. And it looked like it was. It looked like it was from what we can see. So again, we appreciate you guys tuning in. Appreciate you guys being here. Thank you for being part of the podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Monday. And I forgot my special announcement. I forgot my people. Oh my God, I forgot my special announcement. So I had an amazing idea. I had a wonderful idea. I always talk to you guys about trying to bring you more content. And believe me, I do. I want to, but I work a lot of hours with teaching. I'm not teaching right now. The summer's kicked in. So the summer's on, baby. So I live in an area where, so many people talk about going to see, scenic views, right? They go on vacation to get a great view. Well, the reason I chose to live where I live is I have an amazing view, man. My sunset, I live right on the water. I see the water with the sailboats dock, the sun setting over the mountain. It's beautiful. It's picturesque. It's what you would paint. I love it. It's amazing. It makes it amazing. I want to bring that to you guys as we talk about the New York Jets. So I have a new segment that I'm really excited to mention to you guys. So as we do, at 7 p.m., we'll be doing that for every day when I can. As many days as I can, hopefully maybe every day of the week, I'm thinking. I'm hoping I can bring you, we'll talk about the corner room a little bit. Maybe we'll talk about the safety room, the linebacker room. You guys know the beauty of it. You bring it, right? I'll start one, you ask a question, right? I'll start one, we'll look out at the water together. We'll look out at the water. We'll look out at the sailboats. It'll be beautiful. It'll be beautiful like the Jets are about to be, man. And I'm telling you, when you go out, we're going to talk about it tomorrow. Just looking at it, so beautiful, man. We'll do it together. I'm excited. We have a name for it. We're calling it Jets at Sunset. How's that sound, man? That's, I think, beautiful, man. So that's my special announcement. So I'm going to be bringing you guys special segments called the Jets at Sunset, which are going to be short episodes where we're going to be down by the water and we're going to look out. We're going to look at the view. It's going to be freaking beautiful, you guys. Beautiful, I'm telling you. And we're going to talk about stuff. We're going to talk about the corner room or the safety room, whatever we want to talk about. And you can ask me questions. You can be like, hey, what do you think about the linebacker? What do you think about this guy? We'll chop it up. Okay, so I appreciate you guys, and I'm excited about it. Please tune in. Jeff says sounds romantic. Maybe I'll play some serenading music. I'll serenade you guys a little bit. But it's going to be great, man. I'm excited, man. I'm really excited. So we're going to call it Jets at Sunset. I'll be doing it tomorrow. We're going to do it at 7 p.m., just like we do this show. So I'll bring it to you tomorrow. I'll bring you guys the topics. But again, you can bring questions, comments, anything you want to bring. You bring it. We talk about it. It's going to be beautiful, man. So I love it. I'm excited. Again, tune in for Jets at Sunset over the summer. We're going to be watching, looking out at the beautiful scenic sunset and the water while we talk about them New York Jets. So thank you again for being here. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow and the rest of the week. So be there. Thank you again for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you guys tomorrow. Take care. And go Jets.